Okay, we're going to move on to the second round of visitors' comments, and since some people have come in since I read the instructions, I'm going to read them again just as a reminder. Okay? The Board of Education welcomes and encourages the participation of its citizens in the business of the school district. Thank you for your attendance. Citizens are welcome to ask questions or make comments. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. If a person would like additional time to address the board, such a request should be submitted in writing 48 hours before the meeting to the superintendent. For more details, please refer to Board Policy 2-230, Public Participation at Board of Education Meetings and Petitions to the Board. And as a reminder, Kevin will keep track of the time and let people know when their 30 seconds are up. And again, we just ask people to be congenial when they come up and make their comments, please. We'll go in the opposite order since people in the back, if you want to make a comment, you want to step up.
My name is Nancy Monreal. I live at 3410 Hollywood. Okay. And I have been here since pretty much the beginning of the meeting, so I did get to hear our neighbors' comments. One of the things, though, that I don't recall, or perhaps I didn't pay enough attention to, is how we came up with the arbitrary amount of 120 parking spaces. Because if you do get the 40 the spaces over on the side, if you do get permission from the county, why do you still need the additional 80?
We don't answer questions during the
Oh, you
visitors' comments,
don't?
but we're
Okay.
writing them
Then
down.
how would we be able to get more additional, that would be my next question, then unfortunately, you're not going to be answering questions. How would we be able to get our questions answered?
You could submit them to follow the policy, you can submit them to the superintendent. He'll do it. You submit the questions to the superintendent, or you can write them down here and we will take them back.
Okay.
We're
So I
going to
can-
have more
More
committee
meetings, okay. How can then, one of the other questions then would be then how can we make it known to the people that work for us? Because you made a comment that the school board was our elected officials, that we elected, right? So they should be listening to us, we're their boss, right? And so.
Let me.
No,
we
I'd
really
like
don't-
to finish.
Somebody was all concerned about how long it would take and we wanted to get through it. The reason we don't
Right.
answer questions is it takes your 3 minutes and we can't respond to them all.
Okay.
But we say that all the time. You know, they're right on the website are the email addresses for all the board members and administrators. That's probably one easy way to communicate with them, okay? It's been available all along.
I understand that, but we're dealing with a specific subject. How do we get this specific subject? Do we just get petitions as we have been doing and then submit them? Would that be a way? Because we understand that the Hollywood residents were concerned about parking, but I don't think that if they had known that you were going to put a parking lot in front of our houses, that, or in our area, that we would have, had the same concern about people parking in front of our house versus parking structure in front of our house, okay? I think that I'm concerned, I'm upset, and I want to make sure that the school board is aware of our concerns.
The school board's aware of that, but if you want to send more emails, that's fine.
You could also come and present to the whole board your same concerns on the second Tuesday of July.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the back?
Hello, I'm Ken Krupski, 3812 McCormick. I would like to, I noticed that you guys mentioned the minibus quite a bit, about taking that back and forth to the tennis courts. And I guess you can't answer questions, but I just, if anybody ever thought of that huge parking lot that the Forest Preserve has, east side of First Avenue, and your minibuses. I think that could provide overflow parking. You have your minibuses, you cart people back in here, back and forth. You already said you're willing to do it. So let's do it with visitors instead of our tennis team and keep the parking lot out of Hollywood. The other thing I try not to get emotional, but I got a kid there at Hollywood, and I take it that you guys are all intelligent. I take it that you all have higher education. So I would imagine that if a child at Hollywood gets hurt and this goes to court, a judge isn't gonna see an excuse for you guys putting a parking lot that close to an elementary school. And if I have anything to do with it, you'd be named personally in any lawsuit that a child gets hurt in, if this parking lot goes up.
Thank
That's
you.
all I gotta say.
Thank you.
Hi there, I got 3 minutes to talk, I'll talk real fast. Sam Levin, 8506 Parkview. You talked about our Hollywood friends. Here, the Monrails, right here. She just came up and talked to you. Those are your Hollywood friends, okay? Get to know them, because what you want to do is you want to put a parking lot right in your front yard. Is that really what you guys want to do? I don't think so. I really can't imagine it. Why are we encouraging kids to drive? Gas at over $4 a gallon, and we're encouraging people to drive? Let's set an example. Let's say we're gonna be the great, you know what you should do? Set a real example. Do away with the football program. Say we're gonna come against spinal injuries. Why don't you do something, build a new stadium and create a new nuclear weapon underneath it? One that creates peace, not death and destruction. That would be a math and science academy everyone would love here. But what are you guys doing? You know what, I was thinking, what was I gonna say when I came here? And I'm walking over here from my house in Hollywood, and I saw kids riding their bikes on $1 million field. You don't police what you have. Like you said, 30 years, people are falling through the planks. Why does it always take so long and at millions of dollars? Get people working. Find unemployed people in Brookfield. Oh my God, Brookfield. Oh, I shouldn't use that word. Who need a job, who will love to fix the grandstands. Why does everything have to be so big and grander? And then you're talking about going underneath? You guys are building on a floodplain. I live here. Between the Salt Creek and the Des Plaines River, you know where you build if you want something? Up! You gotta build up, you don't build down. Use common sense, guys. You're not bringing it to the table. A parking lot in front of the Monrail's house, in front of the Wallner's house. That's good use of our tax dollars? I think not. I probably used up my three. Oh, I just have one question. That parking lot here that the kids use, right here. I know you don't answer questions, but is that owned by the Park District or by the Forest Preserve or the zoo? Zoo. All right. Do the kids pay for parking here?
Kids don't park.
Do the kids don't park here? Teachers park. All right, do kids park did they ever park here? No.
30 years ago.
How about here? This is kids park. Are they charged for that?
Yes.
And where does the money go?
Hopefully for the
To
rent.
phrase the cost that we pay to Bristol to rent the spot.
Sam, you only got 10 seconds, Sam.
Okay, gotcha. This is a pretty good idea. It's hidden. It's, maybe gives the pole ball hitter something to go for. Put a little ivy here. And you know what? I went to New
Time's up.
Trier. We didn't have baseball fields. We had to go to Winnetka, down the block, 2 miles. We ran
Thanks, Sam.
to go
Your
to
time's
play
up.
baseball. It ain't that
Anybody
important.
else in the back have a comment? Well, we're gonna do it,
Stop
stay,
it,
wait a minute,
guys.
okay?
Don't-
Anybody else in the back have a comment? Okay, come on.
Basically, my name's George Marchon. I live at 3225 Maple. I'm not a Hollywood resident, but I do sympathize with what they're going through, especially driving my daughter, dropping off in the morning, seeing all the kids rushing to school, driving, and not just the kids, the parents, even some teachers. So that is a concern. But I'm here mostly for a small handful of parents that are soccer. Their girls are back there. I don't know if you guys noticed them. And they're worried about the time frame of when the construction is going to take place. I only have rumors to go by. Words has it that it's gonna start as soon as football season's over. Not sure. And we're worried about the impact that's gonna have. I don't have an app for a cement truck, backing up, that's gonna be working on the football field during the school year. That's a distraction, and that's gonna cause a lot of other issues traffic-wise. But also, our understanding is that the girls are supposed to be playing all their games away. 16, 20 games out of the season, they're gonna have to be being bused wherever, Romeoville, 5 places, Naperville. That means they're gonna be gone from 7 a.m., 10 p.m., come home, have to shower, eat, do their homework. By the time they're done, it's 1, 2 a.m. in the morning. What is the other spring sports that are gonna be affected by this whole scenario? The seniors, the C team's gonna be affected, other extracurricular activities. How is that gonna affect? When is the construction gonna start? Has anybody gotten to that point yet? And that's why we're here. We're really concerned about that. Whether it's gonna start during the school year, or why can't it happen during the summer, where it's not gonna affect any other kids? And I give my hands up to these girls who are here who are concerned about that scenario, how it's gonna affect their studies if they have to play 16 games away. Their practice facilities is gonna be taken away. Where is that gonna be? Allard? I don't know. There have to be bused back and forth. That's a concern to us, to them, as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the back?
My name is Peter Piernak. First, I'd just like to say that this is my first board meeting and hopefully my last, because, there are wars going on and you guys are literally fighting over parking lots. But as the captain of the tennis team, my official position for the team is that we would like the courts to remain at RB and not be put away for really 2 reasons. 1, loss of practice time, and 2, because tennis is not the most popular sport. And so it's just going to be a deterrent to kids who already have, second thoughts of joining the team.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. Anybody else in the back?
I had a couple of ideas that you didn't propose. One of them was probably
What's your
building
name
an
again,
overpass.
please?
Brian Serta,
Thank you.
Rockefeller. Building a overpass to the Forest Reserve parking lot in some way. I know there's been talk about building an overpass over First Avenue for safety for a while, but instead of the shuttle, why not invest that money building an overpass and leaving that as a parking? Another possible solution would be is getting, if I understand correctly, if we looked at this baseball diamond right here, I don't think anybody in their right mind would look at this map or the one right outside and say that this baseball diamond is not being utilized the way it was designed. Somewhere in time, the board here and the zoo came to an agreement to build it. This isn't a prairie over here. There isn't a natural habitat. Someone is maintaining this grass. I don't know who's doing it. I don't know if it's you or the zoo, and then they're gonna park on it. So it seems like this weird, just make it the parking lot that they can use, that we can use, and be done with it. I have a feeling though that you were in agreement with that. If they said, sure, go ahead, you'd be like, right on, problem solved. So why don't we get the 4 bodies in the same room? You had said that last time, like, yeah, we'll do that. We haven't had that meeting yet. But we have the board, the zoo, and Cook County, and the residents in a meeting where there isn't this time constraint, where you can actually have a conversation. I'm sure we can elect 1 or 2 people from this audience, from yourselves, where we can come to a solution to do that. I don't think you're feeling our pressure right now. I don't think Cook County's feeling that pressure, and I don't think the zoo's feeling that pressure. And it's not so much about me, making you annoyed with a annoying sound or something. It's about coming to an agreement. If anyone looks at a map, anyone with any type of intelligence, we can build around those trees. We don't have to cut those trees down. We can make the parking lot, if it has a massive space, you can put planters in there and put native plants in there and make it a place that we could also make it a spot for study. I don't think we're putting enough emphasis on that softball field, and I don't think we have the right people in the room to do it. We're here, you're here, we're missing 2 bodies. Cook County, Get Prepwinkle in here. I can't get her. She won't return my phone calls or my emails. Get the commissioner in here. Him either. Get the zoo in here. They send me off to some public relations guy who's But you can get them in here. Get them in here. Let's have this type of open town meeting where we have a real conversation. It is an obvious solution that we don't want the parking on Rockefeller and Hollywood. We don't want to tear down the tennis courts that need repair. We don't want you to tear down the green space that is existing. We don't want car alarms going off, second graders taking the math test. But we have this big old field over here that no one's using, unless we want to park cars on it. But we can't park cars on it. So I mean, it's an obvious solution. I don't think we're putting enough pressure on the people to make those decisions. And if it's a law, well then, I guess we have to go to Springfield. But if it's not, if it's someone who could just make a decision like this, but the country club can get Cook County land, a country club, but not a school. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, and that's where our voting power comes in. Because I hope every one of you in here is a registered voter, and then we have to take that. We take that to the poll. That's where this is. And if everyone in this room and go down to Prepwinkle, go down to Cook County Commissioner, and put pressure on the people who can make those decisions, then hopefully we can get this thing solved.
We elect you.
Anybody else in the back have a comment? Anybody on this side want to make a comment? Come on.
Hello. Mary Slusher, 128 Berry Point. I live over in Riverside. I paid close attention.
What's your name?
Mary Slusher. I live at 128 Berry Point in Riverside. My tax dollars are involved here. I was listening to the presentation about the gravel lot at the zoo, and it occurred to me that the zoo is currently working on expanding their northern lot, correct? Okay, yeah, I believe that is. I wonder if it would be a possibility for the district to build a parking structure on that north lot where they're currently working and expanding, and it's supposed to help traffic on First Avenue also, in exchange for the gravel lot. It's just something else to consider.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else on this side?
What are the next steps here? Is there another meeting in?
Please let the people make their comments, and then we'll talk about the next steps, all right?
Hi, I'm Pam Powers, 9331 Monroe in Brookfield, and I'm here as a tennis parent, basically. We appreciate your addressing some of the concerns that we had talked about in the letter. I still feel like there is a number of those, some issues that were probably, missed or that we'd like to highlight, a little bit more. Again, when we're talking about busing the kids over to North Riverside, I think the biggest thing, again, there is that we're probably going to end up losing our tennis program. As the student indicated, that it is a very devoted group of students, but it's very difficult. If they have to meet with their teachers and those sorts of things, they're going to have to forego, again, their tennis practice and that sort of thing. We had also talked about, again, if there is an injury there, you had indicated that a trainer could go over there. That's going to take 30 minutes if there's an injury or something like that. There are still a lot of downsides to that sort of thing. And again, we did talk about the 8 courts in previous meetings, and I just think that that would be an ideal situation as well, because if we did have the 8 courts, we maybe wouldn't have to have the freshman and sophomore teams doing their practices, not their games. They do their practices at Ellert, and then maybe they could split the courts. I just think that there's a lot of options, again, as that we have talked about with other things, that really need to be explored. Bottom line is, I think what you're hearing today is that people would prefer to have a good tennis program over overflow parking. It's not just the students that benefit, the community benefits. You had indicated that, you're elected to hear the whole district's interests, and I think this group is here, and that's why it's important to hear what everyone has to say, even if we are repeating ourselves, just so that you understand the passion and the fact that there are a multitude of people who do have those same feelings and thoughts. So again, we worked very well with Dr. Skinkus and the board when we needed to get the tennis courts repaired when there were life safety issues, and I think we can still continue to have that cooperative relationship, and we do hope that, you know, you do consider that we need to keep, for the school spirit, the school community, to keep the tennis courts here and not moved away.
Thanks, Pam.
Thank you.
Anybody else on this side? Anybody on this side?
Wait, one here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My name is Rebecca Jones. I live at 8519 Rockefeller. We haven't been here that long. We've been here for about 4 years. And one of the things that drew me to the Hollywood neighborhood was that the streets were clear. There are other parts of Brookfield. I refused to even look in Brookfield for a while because I thought everybody parked on both sides of the street. It was great the first summer we were here. The first fall, lots of cars on the parking lot or on the street for football games. And you know what? That actually made me feel good. It made me feel a part of a community. But I'm still we didn't start having the parking issues until you started renting out the facility. And if you're truly in the business of serving the district, the community, and the students, I don't understand how moving the tennis courts off-site to build a parking lot for your rented out facility has anything to do with the interest of the students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else on this side? Anybody on this side?
Hi, I'm Dan Creek from 8643 Rockefeller. While as a taxpayer I don't agree with the concept of either a new stadium or of spending money on a parking lot, I do like to share ideas. I've got a couple ideas that may be of benefit and provide a partial solution. One idea is, instead of having the stadium on the west side, move the stadium to the east side, elevate it, allow parking underneath the new stadium that would be built. You would gain maybe 25 spots based on my quick review of the layout there. Secondarily, on the west side, where the stadium currently exists, you could have parking in a similar manner to what you have proposed with the county board on the north side of the school, if you're following the scenario. So you could have parking on the west side, diagonal parking, with an exit going out onto Washington Street. Another idea is that when we have large events, the large school buses, which are parked in the general area, and they occupy probably the space of 4 or 5 automobiles. I had a conversation with with Brookfield today, the village, and they said that they would be willing to entertain the thought of allowing those school buses to park along the metro area, and separately, you know, they're willing to discuss something about the village parking lot, but they weren't willing to commit to that at all. My last point is, you're sharing this parking lot with the county for the teachers' parking. And I love our teachers, they're fantastic. I really prize and value our teachers. Our teachers could be bused. We could park the teachers who are there for 8 to 10 hours. We could use the minibus to park the teachers somewhere off-site, gaining a lot of extra room, gaining additional revenue that we could sell to students for parking. Just some thoughts I wanted to present to you all.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. And thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Is there anybody else on this side?
Hi, my name is Pamela Latos. I'm on Rockefeller, 3 doors from where you want to put the parking lot.
Pamela, what's your last name?
Latos, Latos.
Thank you.
Not really thinking that that's a good idea. Bureau of Crime Statistics shows that 1 out of 10 crimes happen in parking lots or garages. 1 out of 4 rapes happen there. So really not feeling putting a commercial industrial type of parking lot in a residential community. It's just not right. We want safety, absolutely. You talked about people. I've been injured, so I know we want safety. So the safety thing, I'm with all the way. But the safety of the community, of the children, of all of us. Do any of you live in Hollywood? I think not. Anyway, it's not a good idea. It's a residential, sleepy little community, and we don't want it. We don't want it. The north side of the Cook County area, where the one couple gentlemen talked about moving or bridging over, busing over, that's perfect. We're all county taxpayers. That's absolutely perfect. No one is ever there. Never. No one's ever there. So I'm a long-term resident here. I think it would devalue our property. I could probably go on, but I know other people want to talk too. So it's scary, and it would deter a lot of people. When I moved in here, tennis was my thing, and I think it's a lure to our area. So I think we should leave the tennis courts there somehow, some way. Somehow, some way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else on this side? We're at this side, right?
Kristen Anderson, 168 Parkview. You're looking for other solutions, and I understand that that area, the softball fields, is apparently untouchable, as you've said, because of the agreements or lack of agreements with the Cook County. And also, I heard you say that there's no structures that will be built. I didn't hear anything about the area that is south of the original building. I know that a couple years ago, someone had introduced an idea of a roundabout through there that could also provide parking spaces. And I know that's in favor.
Right in front here?
Yes, I know that there's some of the Brookfield firefighters said that providing that hard surface would actually be safer should they need to access the roof during a fire. There's also an idea to...
Riverside owns that. I'm sorry. Riverside owns that property. We don't.
But, well, it was a statement from a Brookfield firefighter. I'm sure the Riverside firefighters would agree that a hard surface closer to that side of the school would be beneficial in case they need to put their trucks there, because the current ground isn't stable enough and their ladders aren't long enough to reach from Ridgewood to the roof. There's also the idea that on Ridgewood, maybe to cut into the easement at the curb with that outside sidewalk and make some angled parking there if you want additional spaces. If you get that easement on the north side of the building, you can gain additional spaces on the south side on Ridgewood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a comment to make on this side? Okay. First, I hope people understand, whether you feel like people are agreeing with your comments or not, and what the end solution, I don't know, because I only have 1/7 of the vote anyway. One thing's clear, people in tennis don't want the tennis court moved, and people who live in Hollywood don't want any construction at all, it appears, in front of their house. We've got a lot of emails, you can send more, we'll take them back. I think we have the general concept. Somebody asked what the timeline is. I don't know what the timeline is yet. If everybody was just jumping on board, we probably could, set a timeline to move forward. We're going to take people's thoughts back to the board, to the full board. We're going to it's going to be on the agenda for the next meeting, right, Matt? It's going to be on the agenda for the full board. You're welcome to come again. And John and Kevin and I will inform the whole board what additional information we've learned from our surveyors, from our architect, and from the community. So that's one thing. The second thing I'm going to just reiterate, because I know people get emotional, but it's clear there's a two-way explanation. When people suggest we can build, again, something on the Forest Preserve District property, the county said there's no way in hell that's ever going to happen, if you could pardon my French. Just so you know, we don't control them. Kevin reached out to see if people from the other branches would come so that they can be in the meeting and you could talk to them. So far that we've been unsuccessful. We will try again. But so people know, we've tried, and we will try again to see if we can get somebody from the Forest Preserve District into Cook County.
When will we know?
We're not answering any more questions, okay? I'm trying to explain that. We're going to go back to the board.
Will it be posted on your website?
As we said, we're going to keep people up to date on the website. again, I think we're trying to give you information, and please listen. We're gonna go back to the board. We're gonna decide, we will have another committee meeting. I don't know when it's going to be yet, because John and Kevin and I will have to sort it out and see what we can do. We will try to get some of the county politicians to come. We can't promise it. We will also, I think at our next meeting, we were planning to try to have our architect come, right, Kevin? And maybe go a little bit more into some of the details so that people could understand, we did the best we can explaining what we know about drainage, et cetera, but yes, we're not architects.
Want your engineer to come.
Well, we'll decide who we're going to bring.
A professional
Okay?
engineer.
And we're probably gonna bring our architect, and then we'll decide who else we're going to bring.
Tim, here's the point too. Just because you guys are unsuccessful with
Sam,
them
we're
getting
done
it
with the
done here,
visitors' comments,
doesn't
please.
mean you should be successful here. You might just be unsuccessful here too, in both places.
We're not having any more visitor
Well,
comments.
I'm telling you, you really have a
John,
passionate
is there
crew,
anything you wanna add?
and you better
add or not?
consider that before you take any steps, where we're gonna be on this
Kevin?
issue.
I want to thank everybody for coming and especially for the positive comments. We want to make sure that we have, every idea has been analyzed. I want to assure you, Kevin has worked diligently, especially the last year, to try to come up with a solution to our parking problem that's been here. I'll reminisce about my high school career here, okay? It's been a problem here for 40 years. We're trying to fix the problem. We're doing the best we can. And I actually do appreciate your input because you care.
So what we will do is, we will make information available on the website where we said, these are public meetings, we will send out a public notice. I'm gonna guess at this point, we probably will have a meeting maybe at the end of July or sometime in August, depending upon when people's vacations are, et cetera. Thank you for attending. Everybody okay if we adjourn the meeting?
Yeah, let's adjourn.
Adjourn.
Okay, thank you.